Там одна міна вогонь!
Да, пацани!
The battles between Ukraine and Russia continue to intensify in the ongoing war. The harsh conflicts unfolding in the region are leading to increasingly significant events every day. In this video, you will witness moments of close combat and the brutal realities of the war. Be sure to watch the video until the end, and feel free to share your thoughts and comments with us regarding the course of the conflict. Your opinions are valuable in helping us improve such content.
FPV, мужики, FPV! Вон, полетел. Блядь!
A group of Ukrainian soldiers from the Ukrainian forces is fighting against Russian troops, while one of the soldiers records the events with a helmet camera. These Ukrainian soldiers are fighting to defend a wooded area they occupy from Russian attacks. Russian forces are heavily bombarding the area with mortars and unmanned aerial vehicles. Ukrainian infantry hide in bullet craters and fight back. At the beginning of the video, they notice an incoming drone which is shot down and destroyed by the Ukrainian soldiers. After a brief silence in the area, the Ukrainian soldiers hold a discussion amongst themselves. Then the fighting resumes. The moments of intense combat where the soldiers are close to death at any given moment are truly terrifying. As the battle continues, the Ukrainian forces deploy a reserve group with a YPR-765 armored personnel carrier. A fighter jet operator and their team, stationed in the area, rush to the armored vehicle. Once the Ukrainian soldiers board the vehicle, explosions occur near it due to Russian forces targeting the area.
Все, заходим! Да, пацаны! Идут! Давай! Погнали!
While the explosions continue, the remaining Ukrainian soldiers are waiting to board the vehicle. Just watching the video brings a sense of tension. It's an incredibly high-stress moment. Eventually, all the Ukrainian soldiers board the vehicle and it begins to move. However, it soon becomes apparent that the vehicle cannot proceed. While the exact cause is unclear, reports suggest it may either be stuck or malfunctioning. As a result, the evacuation is delayed and the group disembarks, returning to the battlefield.
Только свое бери, уходи! Бросай! Я своих пулемет!
Russian forces targeting this specific point open fire. At that moment, one of the Ukrainian soldiers is wounded. His comrades immediately rush to help and provide first aid. While the fighting continues, the decision is made to transport the wounded soldier to a safer location. However, just as they start moving, an explosion occurs right next to them. Fortunately, no casualties are reported from the attack, and the Ukrainian soldiers move to a safer area. As you can see, the events here are truly horrifying. The courage, valor, and determination displayed by the Ukrainian soldiers in saving their comrades is commendable and worthy of praise. March 19, 2025, Ukrainian Special Forces fighters from the Azov Brigade are conducting a sweep in the Toretsk area of Donetsk, searching through ruined houses. According to intelligence reports, Russian soldiers are using the walls of these houses as shelters. Amid this grim scene, scouts from the 2nd Battalion carry out combat operations, aiming to clear the area of enemy forces. They proceed as quietly as possible to avoid detection by Russian soldiers. Although the footage does not show it, a Russian soldier nearby is killed. The weather conditions are foggy, which provides a tactical advantage for the Ukrainian forces in this operation. As the Ukrainian soldiers enter another settlement, an explosion suddenly occurs, prompting them to take cover. The explosion is not from nearby but further ahead. A second explosion follows and the Ukrainian infantry enters an abandoned shelter.
Ховаємо в підвал. Залазь.
After waiting for 2 minutes, they decide to move out again to avoid any Russian attacks in the area. They discuss how to proceed once they exit the shelter, and they continue to patrol the area systematically. While filming the operation, one of the soldiers discovers another shelter and asks if anyone is inside. Another Ukrainian soldier responds that no one is inside, but the soldier filming insists on checking and descends into the shelter.
Є хтось? Не знаю, треба спускатися, напевно.
Є хто внизу?
Ти хто, механік?
Inside, they find a Russian soldier who surrenders to the Ukrainian forces. The Ukrainian soldiers interrogate the captured Russian soldier and ask about his identity. He reveals that he is a driver. While questioning the soldier, the Ukrainians attempt to gather various strategic and tactical information. They ask about his unit, commanders, and any orders they've received. Such details help the Ukrainian forces understand the Russian military structure and pinpoint the source of orders. It could also reveal the current mission of the unit and its connections with other units in the region. Additionally, learning the current positions of Russian forces, their plans for advancement, and possible strategies for attack or defense is crucial. If the captured soldier has information on enemy deployment points, targeted areas, or upcoming operations, it could give the Ukrainians a significant advantage. Similarly, intelligence on logistics and supply routes can help them understand where the Russians are getting support and which areas are vulnerable to attack. Targeting these critical supply lines can weaken the enemy's fighting capability. Understanding the enemy's weaponry and ammunition stockpiles is equally important. Information about which weapons the Russians are using, the state of their ammunition supplies, and the types of technologies they possess can provide the Ukrainian forces with insight to counter the Russian threat. For example, if the captured soldier mentions the Russian use of a specific missile system or tank model, the Ukrainians can adapt their defense strategies accordingly. Moreover, gaining information on the morale and motivation levels of Russian soldiers is valuable. The psychological state of troops can significantly affect their performance on the battlefield. If the captured soldier mentions that the Russian morale is low, that the soldiers are tired of fighting or questioning their orders, this could be a major advantage for Ukraine. Low enemy morale can be further exploited through psychological warfare techniques to demoralize them. In another area, Ukrainian soldiers capture a Russian soldier in a trench. The soldier offers no resistance and complies with the commands given by the Ukrainians.
Стоять, сука! Лежать, нахуй! Лечь! Ко мне, нахуй! Сюда, нахуй! Сюда, сука! Назад, блядь! Встал, блядь! Плюс назад, назад,
Плюс.
The soldier is disarmed and his hands are bound. Continuing their reconnaissance operations, the Ukrainian soldiers find another shelter, where they again capture a Russian soldier.
Вверх поднял. Вперед, пошел. Вперед. Тяжкий фок.
This soldier is immediately restrained, and the Ukrainian soldiers ask about his health. The soldier who is injured mentions having a wound on his back. The Ukrainians assist him, open his shirt, and check his injuries. After obtaining the necessary information, the Russian soldier is evacuated like the others before him. BBS pilots affiliated with the 63rd Brigade have recently carried out intensive operations in the Lyman region, inflicting heavy losses on Russian forces. The unmanned aerial vehicle operations conducted in the area, carried out by Ukrainian drone operators, targeted enemy units one by one with precise and effective strikes. The destruction of military equipment and logistical assets in particular significantly restricted the mobility of Russian troops. During the operations, a large number of vehicles and heavy weapon systems belonging to the Russian army were neutralized. Ukrainian forces targeted the identified positions with high-precision munitions-loaded drones, using reconnaissance drones for detection. As a result of the strikes, Ural and Kamaz-type logistical trucks, armored vehicles, light vehicles, and motorcycles were destroyed. Additionally, 4 mortars, portable rocket launcher systems, a type of portable Grad rocket launcher, and a Molniya 2 attack aircraft were rendered unusable by the attacks. March 21, 2025. Drones belonging to the 24th Mechanized Brigade detect a 2S5 Gyatsint S self-propelled howitzer in the town of Chasiv Yar, Donetsk region. After confirming the location, Ukrainian forces launched an attack with an FPV drone. Following the strike, the 2S5 Gyatsint S self-propelled howitzer is destroyed. The 2S5 Gyatsint S is a self-propelled artillery system developed by the Soviet Union in the late 1970s. This 152mm caliber weapon is notable for its long-range firepower and is designed specifically to deliver heavy fire on enemy positions. The system can be deployed in open fields and, with its powerful ammunition, is capable of targeting fortified positions. Its maximum range is approximately 28 kilometers with standard munitions and up to 33 kilometers with rocket-assisted projectiles. The vehicle is mounted on a chassis that can reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour and has relatively light armor. While the Russian army widely uses the Gyatsint S on the battlefield, the Ukrainian army has developed both defensive and offensive strategies against these weapons. Ukrainian forces have either destroyed or captured numerous Gyatsint S systems. Some of the captured systems have been modernized by Ukraine and are being used against the invaders. Thanks to precision-guided munitions and intelligence-supported artillery operations, Ukrainian forces have been successful in neutralizing Russian Gyatsint S batteries. March 21, 2025. The Magyar Birds Special Unit, part of the Ukrainian forces, detected Russian military vehicles near the village of Yusupovo in the Belgorod region. With advanced reconnaissance equipment and intelligence support, Ukrainian forces tracked enemy movements and confirmed the locations of military vehicles in the area. After confirming the positions, they launched an operation with drone strikes. Remote-controlled unmanned aerial vehicles targeted Russian armored vehicles, trucks, and logistical assets, carrying out consecutive strikes. As a result of the high-precision attacks, all Russian vehicles were destroyed and rendered unusable, leading to significant logistical losses in the area. After the strikes, Russian infantry in the area became the next target for the Ukrainian operators. In an attempt to survive, scattered Russian soldiers tried to hide in forested areas, the remains of destroyed buildings, and trenches. However, thanks to advanced thermal cameras and UAVs, Ukrainian forces were able to locate the hidden Russian soldiers. The operations in the area quickly expanded, thanks to the superior surveillance capabilities of the Ukrainian forces. The positions where the Russian soldiers were hiding were identified one by one and targeted with artillery fire and drone attacks. Some Russian units attempting to flee were neutralized by Ukrainian snipers, while heavy weapons and explosive-laden drones caused significant damage to enemy positions. March 19, 2025. Soldiers of the 79th Airborne Brigade of the Ukrainian Army are actively using unmanned aerial vehicles against advancing Russian units in the Novopavlovsk direction. Russian soldiers moving in scattered small groups or individually in the area are detected by Ukrainian drone operators and targeted with high-precision strikes. As a result of these attacks, enemy units are neutralized one by one. The fact that Russian soldiers are trying to advance across open terrain in this manner is likely due to a lack of logistical support in the area. The disruption of supply lines for Russian forces may have led to a shortage of ammunition, food, or reinforcements, causing soldiers to attempt to abandon the front line in order to survive. However, walking unprotected across wide and open areas makes them easy targets for Ukrainian surveillance systems and drone attacks. Ukrainian forces are using advanced drone technology to track enemy movements in real time and carry out precision strikes with remotely guided munitions-loaded UAVs. These attacks not only target individual soldiers, but also Russian trenches and positions in the area, further weakening the morale of Russian troops. March 20, 2025. Ukrainian fighters from the 3rd Assault Brigade continued reconnaissance operations with unmanned aerial vehicles in the Kharkiv region, detecting the locations of Russian units. Drones equipped with advanced surveillance systems and thermal cameras identified the enemy positions, after which an attack operation was launched. Ukrainian forces used drones carrying high-precision munitions to neutralize Russian infantry one by one. Most of the enemy forces in the area were destroyed, and Russian troops suffered heavy losses. After the attack, a surviving Russian soldier tried to hide among the bushes to avoid detection by the Ukrainian drone operators conducting reconnaissance. However, the UAV's advanced sensors spotted him and alerted the operators to his location. Realizing that the drone was tracking him, the Russian soldier decided to surrender. As had been seen many times before, surviving against drones in open terrain was nearly impossible, and there was no escape for this soldier. The Ukrainian forces dropped a chocolate bar with written instructions for the surrendered Russian soldier. The packaging contained guidance on what the captive soldier should do. Following the instructions, the soldier ate the chocolate and continued to follow the drone. Then, by following the drone's directed route, he advanced toward Ukrainian positions. Upon reaching the point where Ukrainian infantry were stationed, the soldier was officially captured and taken into custody according to the procedures for prisoners of war.